Hi, everybody. I'm Scott.
And I am Luke.
And I am Jonathan.
He's not Dune this week. It's a miracle. And this is the No Way to Hollywood podcast. Thanks for joining us.
This is
You summoned me. You summoned Dune fan. You summoned me. Arrakis, House Atreides, baby.
This is indeed the No Way to Hollywood podcast. Thanks for joining us, and thank you, Chris, for leaving a comment saying that you were leaving a comment. It meant a lot to us.
Chris, thank you, man.
See, now my question is that Chris or is that one of my 25 billion nephews I have using Chris's account?
Oh, if you are a nephew who left that comment on Chris's account, thank you.
Thank you.
A lot to us.
Well, gentlemen, on tonight's episode, we've got a bit of a fun topic that I think we'll all enjoy. We're going to talk about movies that we enjoy quoting and why. So I'm going to start out with probably the movie that I quote most often, and that is The Princess Bride. There are too many instances. I'm sorry, say that again, Luke.
Inconceivable.
How dare I? You do not have 6 fingers on your left hand, do you?
I do not think that means what you think it means.
Hello.
Oh, you mean you wish to surrender to us? Very well.
This is already off the rails. Go ahead, Scott.
But there's so many good quotes.
Oh, yes.
I'm falling victim to one of the classic blunders. The first is never get involved in a land war in Asia.
But only slightly less
well known is never going against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
And that was the end of today's episode. Thanks for joining us.
Turns out Scott is dead. And we built up immunity to iocane powder. So good job, Luke and I. Scott, need to work on your iocane powder immunity.
Okay.
Work on that, okay?
All right.
Only slightly less well known is the COVID-19 virus.
I mean, if the last couple of seconds wasn't clearly obvious, The Princess Bride is probably just has some of the best quotable moments that I can think of in any movie ever. And we just completely made ourselves laugh really hard about it. So, I mean, we've already said a lot of our favorites. Are there any other moments from that movie that you all enjoy quoting?
That just opens up the whole movie, dude. Princess Bride is easily one of the most quotable movies of all time.
You see me, decent fellow. I hate to kill you. You see me, decent fellow. I hate to die.
Have fun storming the castle.
Ain't gonna work. It would take a miracle.
A miracle. Bye.
Who are you? No one of any importance. I must know. Get used to disappointment. Okay.
Knowledge is what?
Okay. Before this becomes a reenactment of The Princess Bride, which I think we've already fallen victim to. Out of order, by the way. We are all over each other's scenes. Why is The Princess Bride so quotable?
Why? I mean, there's so many good moments in the movie. So many. It's such a well-written movie, I think, is definitely why, and it just fits in so well. In the tender moments, there's even the quotable stuff. Like, how many times have you heard someone quote the "as you wish" from The Princess Bride, especially for someone that they, love? Or one of my favorites is the rhyming scene of "Stop that now, I mean it."
Anybody want a peanut?
There it is. So,
yeah, it's definitely one of those really well-written movies. It's incredibly fun. It is, one of these little gems. And I just actually watched a video essay talking about the sword fight sequence, the sword fight, right? And it's great. Like, there is so much great going into this movie. And it certainly helps that, the guy who wrote it adapted his own book, but he also happened to be, the script doctor of Hollywood at the time. So, he's, great at writing. And so, yeah, the writing is great. The acting is a ton of fun. People are clearly into this movie and liking it. And they just thought they were just making, a little movie, and it, became the awesome thing that it was because it's awesome. But what I think is interesting are the movies that are fun to quote, but not fun to watch. And for me, that's movies like Dumb and Dumber, which I enjoy quoting. Same with Monty Python, Search for the Holy Grail, where the lines are funny because the lines are funny, but in the context of the film, I don't find them funny at all. Right? So like so much of Dumb and Dumber, when I say the lines, I'm like, hey, 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 hey. But then when I watch it in the context of the film, I'm like, that just wasn't funny. So like
Samsonite, way off.
Yeah, exactly. Like that line is great outside of the film because in the context of the film itself, it doesn't hold the same kind of comedy weight, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, I've said that one quite a few times. Jonathan, quotes from Dumb and Dumber?
Mock, yeah. Ing, yeah. Bird, yeah. Mockingbird, yeah. That's why I remember that. That's a thing. How about the do you want to hear the most annoying sound in the whole world? It just goes up.
I mean, but then there's also like, just when I thought you couldn't get any stupider, you go out and do a thing like this.
Yes.
And totally redeem yourself. Yeah, like that's gold. But
What's
in the concept of the film, just go, man, just go.
That was a brilliant idea. Where'd you learn it? I saw it in a movie. Oh yeah? Yeah. They did it, and then what happened in the movie? Oh well, like some bikers caught up to them and slit all their throats. Oh.
Yeah. Oh yes. All right.
But I don't really remember Dumb and Dumber being terribly quotable though myself. Like there are definitely like there are gags I remember, there are things I remember, but really, mostly I just forget Dumb and Dumber. To be honest. Mostly I forget it. And then I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is going to happen. Oh yeah, this is going to happen. That's basically my experience with Dumb and Dumber right now.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it's certainly one of the more quotable movies for a lot of people, though. But it really is just moments, right? So Luke, it's this is a great line, and maybe it doesn't connect in the same way that, The Princess Bride connects. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, you have those moments. So I mean, I can think of a number of other movies that are like that for me as well. Jonathan, do you have any other movies that are coming to mind for you that you like to quote?
Oh yeah, sure, plenty. I mean, my Dumb and Dumber quotable movie is Anchorman. Anchorman has a lot of dumb quotes that I find hilarious.
Loud noises! You ate the whole wheel? I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
Yes, there are many of them. 70% of the time, it works every time. Yeah, I'm trying. Of course, I say it, and now I'm struggling to remember all the various quotes. I mean, I was just saying one today where it's like, we're live on air right now. I don't believe you. Stay classy, San Diego, of course, is a classic one. I don't know. Was it Brick has a bunch of stupid ones? Like, was it 78 degrees here on the west and 30 degrees over here in the upper Middle East? You're like, that's not how that works. There's lots of stupid. If you look at some of the outtakes too, I was like, there's some that I remember just from the outtakes, like hot pot of coffee or by the beard of Zeus. Like just stupid sayings, That's one. It's not, but again, Anchorman, I can enjoy watching that for all of its absurdity. And I think I probably enjoy its absurd comedy more than I enjoy Dumb and Dumber's absurd comedy myself. But it is still a movie where if I put it on, it's there's gonna be some quotes and some different things, and I'll probably have a good time, but it's not very good. Like Dumb and Dumber is the same sort of way, right? It's not particularly great for me anymore. But there are there's lots of things. There's lots of concepts that are funny. Where'd you get those clothes? The toilet store.
Well, okay, and that's interesting because that makes me think of the outtakes for Gamers Darkness Rising, where during the end credits they just have parts where they mess up or they say something funny, and there's a whole little rant that one of the characters does where he just tries different lines during the outtakes, and they're great. Like I'll scramble the eggs of your injustice, with the spatula of righteousness or whatever, and the bitter taste of your coffee will have no effect against the creamer of what. It's great. It's so good, and yeah, that movie's just awesome in general. So yeah.
I mean, other movies that are quotable though, like Three Amigos is a fantastic one.
We were just doing that earlier this week.
I know.
Look at here. Look at here.
Look at here. Look at here. Would you say I have a plethora of pinatas? Yes, I'd say you have a plethora of pinatas.
Do you even know what a plethora is? I wouldn't want someone telling me that I have a plethora of something. Are gringos going to start falling from the sky? Yes. Well, and then you were just quoting the other one, like and then I learned about trick photography. I was crushed.
I don't do trick photography. No. It's just like there's lots of great. Is it possible that it's because you are turning 40 today and I'm trying to take it out on me?
You killed the singing bush. You shot the invisible swordsman.
We shut up. We both shut up. Or what's that? Infamous. That's famous.
More than famous. Yeah. They're using real bullets. Okay? You're in big trouble.
You son of a motherless goat. I use that one regularly.
That's true.
On people. I use that regularly because it's so offside when you think about it. It's like,
and
what?
we rode the women.
We rode the women. We plundered the horses.
Oh, man. There's some great moments in that one for sure. Luke, when you were talking about outtakes, it did remind me of one of my other favorite movies to quote. And this one definitely, I think, has some like intelligent lines to it, but I really enjoy 10 Things I Hate About You. And there's one line in particular that I absolutely love from this movie, which is when kind of our friend character parks his bike right behind a car, and the shrew, which, because 10 Things I Hate About You is an adaptation of Shakespeare, kind of yells at him and says, "Remove head from sphincter, then drive."
Well, if we're gonna do one-liners, right? Like movies that like are the one line, right? Like there's some okay things in Spinal Tap. There's actually a lot of really funny.
This one has an 11.
But the best line is definitely. But this one goes to 11. Like there's a ton more that's hilarious in that movie, but like that is like the sum total of the film for me.
Yeah. I mean, I like Nacho Libre enough to have various quotes that come to mind at various times. Like, I don't know why you're judging me just because I believe in science. Or, I just think it'd be good. We're going against Satan's cavemen tonight. I just think it'd be a good idea if you were baptized. You must summon your eagle powers. And of course, Nacho.
You can adjust the volume on that, right, Luke? That got to me a little bit.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Oh, and really, yeah. The other monks don't think I know a buttload of crap about the gospel, but I do. Okay. Anyway.
Oh, man. Oh.
Is this what this episode's going to be? It's just us quoting things? Is this what this episode's going to be?
Probably. I mean, look how much fun we're having with this. I can only imagine how much fun other people are having with this.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Leave a comment. Leave a comment about how much fun you're having.
Are you kidding me? They left 20 minutes ago. They're gone. don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, I was actually trying to pull us in an interesting direction when I brought up movies that I don't enjoy, but find certain lines to be enjoyable later, after the fact, outside of the context of the film. So I was trying to do my best to contribute. But Scott, where else do you want to go with this? Because you haven't done a lot of quotes lately.
I haven't done a lot of quotes. But Luke, the movie that fits the category that you were just talking about for me is Napoleon Dynamite. This is not a movie that I enjoy watching at all.
Jane Quesadilla.
I've got skills. I got nunchuck skills. I got, some great moments in that one.
Rex Kwando.
But yeah, it's great to have movies that have those kind of moments in them. And even though you might not like them or think they're great, you can still be able to kind of go back and quote them afterwards. So, it's
okay. But what about serious quotes, guys? We've been doing all the funny ones. How about serious quotes? Do you remember any serious quotes from any, at least trying to be serious movies? Anybody?
Yes, but I'm trying to remember what those lines are that I remember from those movies that are serious, because my brain has been in comedy land. Allow me to
But why is it? So like quotes, just because they're jokes, I guess, they stick with us more from comedies, I think. I think if you ask any person to give you a quote from a movie, I bet there's a higher percentage, a majority of people who will probably give you a comedy quote, not necessarily a serious quote. I'd be willing to wager on that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to, because I'm not a gambling man.
Well, I did think of one action movie that has at least one quote in it that I absolutely love, and that's the "Get off my plane."
See, that's a comedy.
That's a comedy quote. Right? Like,
but it's not a comedy movie.
Stick around, or get to the chopper. Or
which we quoted before we started recording this episode.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. You know it killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Now that is a comedy. Okay, I mean, like, well, and then there's, okay, but then there's also like movie quotes that aren't necessarily things that we're like quoting because we enjoy them so much. And that's, I think, part of this. Like, there's an enjoyment to quoting certain things. And that's why comedy comes up so much, is because it's so enjoyable to do. But then there's other quotes that just become part of pop culture, like "You had me at hello" and things like that, where it's a phrase, it's a thing. It becomes a meme of sorts for things that people say.
I have spoken.
So, yes. Etc., 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 although that's a comedy moment.
It's interesting to me that like one of our, so like I think about the other thing of inside jokes that are quotes.
Yes.
Like, how many times do we now yell at each other "witness"? Which yelling "witness" at somebody comes from Mad Max Fury Road. And that movie's such an action movie. In fact, I don't even think I knew what they were yelling at each other the first like 3 times I saw that movie. I just knew they yelled at each other something and were doing this like chrome paint. And I got what was happening, and it was great. But I didn't know they were yelling "witness" at each other until like the 4th time watching the movie. I was like, oh, they're yelling "witness." And then, but now, I'm with my friends, and if something's epic's happening, we're like, "Witness!" It's a whole thing.
And then to let everybody in on an inside joke, like Rashid has seen it. Like, that comes up all the time.
Which, to tell that story briefly, right? See, Rashid has seen it's an interesting quote because it's very much an inside joke, because it's from the movie Kingdom of Heaven, not a comedy. You may find parts of it funny, like I did at moments, but very much a serious movie. And in one part, you're at the end of the movie, basically. There's a siege happening on Jerusalem. And, it's the classic it's Crusades. Everyone's got swords and bows and arrows and siege towers, and they're all like trying to get up across the wall. And catapults are hitting the wall, and the walls are holding steady. And so it's night. And like military commander guy is talking to other military commander guy, general leader dude. And he's trying to convince him. He's like, I think the wall is buckling over here. It's not safe. If we just put all of our catapult emphasis on this one part of the wall, it's going to break. He's like, how you know? He's like, Rashid has seen it, dude. He's seen it. and he says such an emphasis on Rashid has seen it. Rashid is extra number 5, man. Don't nobody know who Rashid is. Rashid is just like Joe. And it's like, Joe has seen it. You got to believe him, man. We got to change our entire battle plan because Joe over here, Rashid, has seen this. It was just, so now we keep on asking ourselves, but has Rashid seen this? It's an inside joke. I'm sorry.
And now you're in on it. And if you're still watching, you could type Rashid has seen it into the quote below, into the comments, and that would be awesome.
Or give us your own quote.
Ooh.
Rashid has seen it. That you will give us your own quote.
Yeah.
He's not a fortune teller, dude.
Yeah.
Get the context right on the joke. You want to be on the inside? Get it right.
Apparently, I'm no longer on the inside, so there you go, guys. Hey.
Okay, I'm really interested by this concept of non-comedies that I like to quote, because there are quotes from non-comedy things that I really enjoy, but I don't say them much.
Well, Luke, I'm thinking back to our conversation about comedy actors who do more serious movies, and I was thinking about like The Truman Show, which has its very comedic moments, but there's still a lot of moments in there that I like to quote. And of course, we did quote it at the end of that episode. You know, good morning, and in case I don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Well,
beautiful, which is actually one of the most annoying lines in that entire movie, and the movie's actually great. So there you go.
Well, and I mean, a movie that it's a movie that is a drama, is an action movie. It's trying to be those things. Many people will find it to be cheesy and lame, but the first night I think has a lot of great quotes. A lot of quotes that I really really enjoy. A simple, easy one is either what we hold to be right and good and true is right and good and true under God, or we're just another robber tribe. Like there's these little quotes in there that I really enjoy, and they're pretty great. And when Sean Connery says it, it really helps. By the way, it really helps when Sean Connery says it. But very played straight, serious quote. One that comes on top of my head. That's one of them. Man, yeah, action movie quotes are often got a humorousness to them, or like an epicness, right? It's epic or humorous, but again, what about just dramatic or serious or heartwarming or something else?
Kind of in that vein, you kind of brought to my mind this concept of like some of the iconic quotes, or some of the quotes that is part of like a franchise. Like Bond has a lot of great quotes. Even him just saying his name, Bond, James Bond, is kind of one of those that's like, oh yeah, and kind of gets you riled up. And you can't even quote that outside. I've seen people do that with their own names, although I don't think that would work too well for me. Anyway, you also have like a lot of Star Wars quotes. May the Force be with you. Like how many times do we even say that?
And that's a big case of misquoted Star Wars stuff, because Luke, I am your father is not right. It is, no, I am your father. It's not the line's actually misquoted all the time for skipping the context, basically, to make it more appropriate for outside of the movie.
Right. Give it the clarity. I like to quote from the animated Disney Robin Hood, the absence makes the heart grow fonder, or forgetful. Right. Like I like that.
Well, that's an interesting one, because you're taking like a classic phrase and then putting something else onto it.
Right, and that's clever and actually fits really well within her character and what she's feeling at the moment, right? Which makes it really poignant, which is awesome.
Another one of my favorite quotes is from Mad Max Fury Road, and it's something like,
I do snap at you often.
You do that. That's true. Again, if you haven't seen that movie, it probably doesn't make much sense. But there's a character in there, Mad Max, who mumbles a lot. It's awesome.
Well, and after we saw that horrible, horrible film, we did often quote also Tom Hardy doing his we need 20 belt belts.
No need no 30-pound belts. We need 60-pound belts. I'm like, what is going on? What is happening? Tom Hardy did more acting in one scene of that movie than every other cast member combined.
Yes.
Okay? Just putting that out there. I'm talking to you, Leo. I'm talking to you. I go with honest trailers. Give me some bison liver. I'll vomit too. Where's my Oscar?
Okay, but then that reminds me of something that we also talk about a lot, which is things about movies that become legendary for us because of either how awesome or bad they were. In this case, if we're talking Revenant, the horse's eye shot, which just to this day just blows my mind in how bad it was. Like, it is what sticks in my mind as like, why is this happening in this film right now? And so now I'll bring up, oh, is this a shot of a horse's eye right now? You know, like, but that, again, that's an inside joke thing based off of an experience of watching a film, right? And that's not really a quote, but we are quoting something about the film.
Okay, let's go to more classic quotes, like, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn, right? Or here's looking to you, kid. Or we're gonna need a bigger boat. Or
this is not classic at all, but we need a bigger boat. You know, like the get me a big car with a large engine and make certain it has a huge trunk or a big trunk or whatever. I don't know. Now I'm butchering that. Sorry, guys. There you go. I had it and then I lost it. Sorry.
Yeah, guys, I do like those classic movies, like the "Frankly, My Dear, I Don't Give a Damn," and the or even going to Louis. This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Sure.
Fredo, I know it was you, and it breaks my heart.
There's something there. Those are movies that have those just like classic, iconic moments, and the line is so. I mean, it's not long, and it's very specific and whatnot. But they're the things that you remember from that movie, right?
Well, okay, let's talk about this. Let's do something really nice and easy. Marvel Universe lasts like 10 years, a billion movies, basically, right? What's one of the most iconic lines out of that entire franchise?
You mean with great power comes great responsibility?
Incorrect. That is Sam Raimi's trilogy. We are not talking about that, even though it's a great Spider-Man trilogy. You are disqualified. Luke, you can try.
I'm not even going to try if I can get disqualified from the game. Sounds
okay.
dumb.
So that is also the wrong quote. We are going to need to go with I am Iron Man. Okay? Why is that?
I am Batman.
Cinematically? No. See, I am Batman has a very different meaning, right? I am Batman now, especially, is again sort of a comedy quote.
Yes,
but Iron Man has meaning. It has meaning twice over. The very beginning of the entire franchise, where it was a very important character moment, where they said, I'm not going to hide and do the secret identity stuff. I'm not doing it. The character would not do that. The character would actually just tell everybody that they are the superhero. And that is that moment. I am Iron Man. It's a embracing of that new life and identity. It's also a moment that says, I'm not going to do it the secret identity thing. None of that. It plays with the character. It's a big moment. It means something. And so you finally get on the other side of 10 years or 15 years or whatever it's been since they've been making these movies. Maybe even 20. It's been 20 years. I don't know. And you get to Avengers Endgame. Spoilers. Dude is dying at the end of the movie, right? He's going to snap his fingers and fix all the problems. And Thanos says something like, I'm inevitable. I'm a punk ass, basically, phrase. And Iron Man says, and I am Iron Man. Once again, a character decision and moment is wrapped up in a quote, which has extra meaning because of how it was used initially for that character, thus making you think about the beginning of that character to then jump to the end of that character, think about the entire arc, and thus it is all wrapped up in That one quote. I am
And you
Iron
know
Man.
what's awesome about that? That was not in the script. They edited the movie and they're like, we feel like we're missing something. We should have Iron Man say something here. What should he say? Oh, and they brought Robert Downey Jr. back for that line, to record that line as a, like, you know, long after everything was done shooting and he was done with being Iron Man, to come back and say that line, from my understanding.
You know what else blows my mind about the Avengers Endgame is how quotable and how much everyone loves the line, I love you 3000. It's his kid saying to him early in the movie, I love you 3000, to like up the ante or something. There are t-shirts that say I love you 3000 now.
Yeah.
People really like that line, I guess because the girl's really cute and it's his daughter. And again, it's a character thing. It's the moment that you realize that Iron Man, Tony Stark, has a family, has a daughter. It's the moment that makes it real. His daughter loves him. You know, it's a big setup for he's going to die at the end of this movie. But, you know, it's this moment that's only brought up in that movie. But again, that quote for some reason sticks with a lot of people. I find it kind of fascinating, but I think it has good quotes, are either funny on their own right, like a funny idea, a funny concept, or I think in their best, whether they're funny, dramatic, whatever, they are a summarization, a strong symbol, easy truncated phrase of what a character is, of what an idea is, of what a movie is, of an arc, something like that.
Wow, I do not remember that line at all, but I do remember it's over 9,000. Yes.
Yeah. You know, Jonathan, I think you're right. There are a lot of movies that have those great moments. And I know we've talked a lot about different comedies, and like I'm even having some other ones that are popping into my head from romantic comedies in particular, because I think that there is that element of human connection that is deep and meaningful. And the I Love You 3000 is one of those moments from an action comedy, basically, that is still heartfelt and deep and meaningful. So I see how you have, even though it's not necessarily comedy, and even going back to The Princess Bride, like the As You Wish isn't necessarily a comedic moment, but
Sure.
it represents that concept of love, which I think is, you know, something we all want, which is why we quote lines like that bring us closer to that kind of a moment.
How about Lord of the Rings quotes? Any Lord of the Rings quotes? I mean, I know those are some popular ones. These are that is not for us to decide. You know, the times are not for us to decide. What we have to decide is what to do with the times that are given to us, right? Like,
sadly, the quotes that I remember from Lord of the Rings are the ones that aren't in the books. Let's go hunt some orcs.
That's funny. That's I'm pulling out some Gandalf. I'm butchering it, but I'm pulling out some Gandalf, and Scott's like, "Yo, man, let's hunt some orcs."
Let's hunt some orcs.
You know, that's every D&D game I've ever heard of.
Oh man!
And by the way, I think it's "Let's hunt some orc." By the way, yeah.
Well, meat's back on the menu, boys. Right?
Yeah.
That's another comedic moment, right, in this whole thing. I don't know. See, what's interesting about Lord of the Rings, because it's initially a book, you have a lot of quotable things that are really good literary quotes, but aren't necessarily so much fun to just say, right? Although even there, you can memorize them, and then they're like impactful or fun or whatever. But like, they're not the quip. They're not the thing that like just sticks in your mind. Like it's a concept more than like the delivery or something. I don't know. Am I even saying this well? I don't think I am. That's cool.
Bilbo Baggins, I am not some conjurer of cheap tricks. Not trying to hurt you. Trying to help you. That's That's like all performance.
Yes.
That is all performance and special effects on that one that make that line stand out.
Sure. And that's, I mean, I think a lot of the quotes that we have could be performance, but also could be just how they piece it together, how they shoot it, and the impact in that moment. So that's another reason why we quote things like that, right?
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. I can't do a good Alan Rickman, as you can clearly tell. But I was just thinking, Alan Rickman in Die Hard is awesome and memorable. Yet I don't know if he has quotes. I don't know if there's really any quotes. That's the only I can come up with. But the thing about that is actually John McClane's character having written that on someone's shirt and done this thing, and Alan Rickman reacting and reading what McClane wrote. That is a thing I can remember. I don't think of Alan Rickman's quotes, but I do think of John McClane, Bruce Willis's quotes in Die Hard. There's plenty of them. Yippee-ki-yay, or it's always more. Of course, comes from there's always more of a Roy Rogers man myself. You get all sorts of little. It's gonna be great. Come out to the coast. We'll have a few laughs. There's all sorts of great quotes from John McClane's character, or even Al, right? His partner Al outside. A Twinkie. It's got this much, in it, and it's got, believe it or not, they do have expiration date. There's all sorts of things. Actually, expiration date. That's Zombieland, is what I just thought of.
Yeah. No.
Believe it or not, the Twinkie does have an expiration date, and I'm just looking for one more. Well, now I'm thinking about like Star Wars, and again, it's because it's funny the way that it's said, but it's not said in a funny way at the time. Like the whole it just so happens that I like nice men. Well, I'm nice man. Or what about the fact that Star Wars is so iconic that even it's gotten to the point where lines that have no right being iconic can be iconic and make you think of the movie, where it's like, they came from behind, right? You quoted that earlier today too. Wow, yeah.
I've got a bad feeling about this. Someone should have said that at the beginning of this episode.
Don't worry. Can't shake him. Almost there. Loosen up. Almost there. Red leader.
Stay on target.
Yep.
Luke, you've turned off your targeting computer.
What's wrong? And those are big moments that we remember because the moment is big in the film, and the line just happens to be associated with that, I think.
It could be. Well, gentlemen, we've mentioned a lot of different movies tonight. So now I'm going to give you the challenge of finding just one of the quotable movies that we've mentioned in this episode to recommend for our 6 viewers.
Have I recommended Gamers Darkness Rising before on this episode on the show? Probably.
I don't remember. It might have been one of the earlier episodes, but you can recommend it again. That's okay.
Okay, well, you should watch Gamers Darkness Rising, and if you're like, oh, but I've already watched that, you've already mentioned that a billion times, then another movie that I do like to quote occasionally is Stranger Than Fiction, because that movie cracks me up a lot. So I've also recommended that one, I'm sure. So because I only know 3 good movies in this world. So there you go, watch those ones. Of course, you could also watch Emperor's New Groove, because that one's amazing with so many great one-liners. So I don't know, there's 3. Take your pick or watch them all. I'm always up for more people having seen First Night. I warn you, it is cheesy. It's from the 90s. Richard Gere's in it. He shouldn't be. And there's lots of stuff going on. It's got lots of cheeseballness to it, but there's also some really good dialogue and some really good writing in it. And Sean Connery does a great job, I think, with what he's given. I actually have a special place in my heart for that movie, but if you hate it, I would totally understand. Another one that comes to mind is Scott Pilgrim versus the World, because that movie is just chock full of humor and special, so many good things. It's got references and stuff going on out the wazoo, and some of its dialogue is also quite good. So you think I fight my own battles and wouldn't come without my stunt doubles? What's wrong, Scott? Are you seeing double?
Yes.
Wait, what? Well, vegan? Yeah, I can tell you, but yeah, okay. Yeah, there's some good stuff there.
Well, gentlemen, I think I think I want to give everyone like one of the classics to watch tonight. So I am going to recommend Casablanca. It is probably my favorite classic movie of all time. It's just, and the line really, in terms of memorable lines, like, yeah, there's some throughout, but just, man, that ending has a lot of power to it. So
partly because
that's
it's
my
Ingmar
recommendation
Bergman
for tonight
leading.
is go watch a black and white movie, and my preference would be Casablanca. So thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll catch you again next time on the No Way to Hollywood podcast.